Do you see it?
Oh,
Yes. Is it going?
I can't see my,
it's
Okay.
The image is okay.
Yeah?
Okay, it looks like the image is good, and that means welcome to Patreon and welcome to 2024 and this new moon. I am Lorraine, the Lunar Queen, if you're tuning in for the first time. I'm here at the heart of Lunar Fair headquarters, and I'm super excited because thanks to the brilliant mind of one of the lunar chicks, we're going to do something really cool starting today. So I want to just introduce our beginning, and then we can go into the new moon. We've got people here joining us, but they are hiding right now. They may come out later when we do our spell. But we're doing something called the hero's journey, and well, I'm calling it that. And basically, through the new moon and the full moon and all the moons that we go through, all the lunar cycles, we are receiving, we are letting go. We go through a process of growth. And wouldn't it be cool if you could track that progress and really pay attention to what happens when you do a simple spell? If the Lazy Coven is able to be here or they're watching it after the fact, we're doing some really simple spell work over the next 3 months while we are indoors to connect to the energy of the moon, but simple things like today, all you really need to have is a string and a candle. But we are doing in the bigger picture the hero's journey, which means that if you go on Patreon, if you're not on there, I don't know how you'd be able to watch this, but you're going to go on Patreon and there's a document, a Google document. And oh, it's so funny. We have exactly 8 people here. I'll tell you why that's funny later. But we have a Google document on Patreon. If you click on it, you'll see some of the themes and patterns written down for the new moon. And what you can do is you can copy that into a journal, or you can use a grimoire. We use the word grimoire on Instagram, and grimoire is our book of spells. But typically, a grimoire is something you're going to create once you've done the spell. You know, you're going to write what you've done down and what the results were, so you can record all the magical operations that you do under the new and full moon, and you can use the Google document to as a little map, or to copy, or to handwrite, the way that they did in the ancient times, and make a grimoire eventually. And what's really great too is you can track your spells. We can actually see what happens to us over the months to come. So this is, we're starting the hero's journey. It's perfect because it's the new moon of the new Gregorian year. And I say Gregorian year because this is something that's a little debatable in the Wiccan communities when the year begins. We usually say our new year is on Samhain, but we are going into some new places today, and it's a really good time to start a journey. So for each new and full moon, we're going to circle around with all the spell work and see what happens for each of us. And what's really cool, especially for the Lazy Coven, if you don't know what Lazy Coven means, we've got a chat going on Patreon. You can ask that question. But the Lazy Coven, well, we want them to be able to access magic in a really simple way that's powerful and makes a difference in their life on their own time. So we're starting that journey today with everyone, and I'm really excited. So I'm going to complete that introduction unless questions have come up over Patreon.
You too.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're okay? Okay, great. If there are questions, we also have, I mentioned before, a chat group. Now that chat group on Patreon, unfortunately, Patreon has one limitation, and that is you have to have a basic membership. I forget what it's called, Lunar Fam membership, and that's for Patreon. That's just how they do it, to be on the chat. So just letting you know about that. And we're also, for the Lazy Coven, we've got a WhatsApp group going on. So you can participate. It's just going to be a little bit different. And, I'd love to hear back after the spell work too. Okay, now I'm really going to start with 2024 and the numerology of 2024. We're going to do a lot today, but let's focus on the year 2024. So 2024 is an 8. If you add the digits of 2024, it equals an 8. And if you actually physically look at an 8, it is an infinity loop. It has no beginning, it has no end. So 8 is considered, I'm going to go through all the numerology, by the way, but I'll do it quick, so don't worry. If I see anybody in this room sleeping, I'll definitely move on to the next subject. But 8 is a master builder number. That's what it's known as. And so when we work with that number, you could put the center, let's say, in your heart or your hara, which is like your will center, and you can create whatever you want. Really, when we do magic, we actually create the 8. Magic is an 8. So when you call in, the energies of nature and the energies of the celestial realms, it literally creates a flow between the celestial energies and the earthy energies. So when you're in an 8, it is a year of power. It's a year of magic. It's a year of transformation. It's a year of karma. But we'll go into that word. I don't know. Some people have a little fear of karma, but it's a year that whatever you put in, and we're going to get to this when we talk about Capricorn, is what's coming out for you. So this is a year where the seeds that you planted over previous years, these are some of the themes, the overlaying themes for everyone. What seeds you've planted, whether as an individual or whether as a society, we're going to see the results of the seeds that we plant. And so it's a really good time to not be afraid of your power. Really step into your power. Really take ownership of that power, because if you don't, it'll jump on you like a dragon. We'll talk about dragons when we enter the actual Lunar New Year of the Dragon, which is coming up next new moon, actually. But you got to be ready for the power to come. And either way, the power of the 8 is going to be there. So it's going to be a time of, and we're going to see it in many ways. It's a time of transformation. And I know, especially like if you're a fixed sign, my rising sign is fixed, we're a little afraid when you say that word transformation. It's kind of like, well, I kind of like things the way they are. Well, see it as an amplifier, right? So 8 is a really good time also to let go and to bring in and to create that infinite energy. You've got infinite energy supporting you to create what you want. And so that is the theme of this year. It's karma, it's power, it's building on a whole new level. So it's not, some of the lower numbers represent building as well. This is like building up your power. You can manifest a lot of financial abundance only if your financial abundance is aligned with that 8. Right? So if you just are asking for something out of a sense of greed, the 8 might give you a little kick, right? So when you're asking for what you want, it's okay to have personal desires. At the same time, how are they aligned with your destiny? So this is a year of destiny. And once we really take ownership of that power, we have the celestial and the earthy energies backing us, we really start taking ownership. We start radiating that energy. If you ever see illustrations of the heart chakra, you'll see that 8, that infinite number going out. So what happens is when we're in a state of joy, authenticity, abundance, it's like a cup that flows out to everybody, which is another clue to this year. It's all about manifestation. So the key to manifesting is to give what you want. So if you want something in your life, like love, for example, give love. So whatever way you can do that, do it. And make it so it feels like a little bit of a sacrifice. Because when you're willing to kind of expand yourself like that, then the universe expands to meet you. so that you actually can take a full step into that energy. So while I'm talking about the 8, whether you're watching tonight or a different day, I encourage you to go back and look at the themes on that Google Doc. But if you're not looking at the Google Doc, like me, I'm not looking at the Google Doc. But what were some of the patterns of last year? Because 7 was last year, and that was introspection. It was spirituality. It was a lot about going within yourself. And a lot of us in the year of 7, we had an identity crisis. I had a little one. It's like, am I really doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Is this really what I want with my life? It was that kind of an introspection. So with an 8, it's kind of like that part is complete, but you can still check in every now and again and make sure you're aligned with your 8. So even while I'm talking, you can journal. What were some of the big patterns last year? Because now we're stepping into something new. And it's important to know what you want to take with you and what you don't, because it's going to flow everywhere, whatever you choose. No pressure there. Okay. Now, we have the personal numerology too. So your personal numerology is the theme that is coming up for you personally. So the 8 is the overlaying number, but your personal number is personal to you, and you could say that the 8 is kind of amplifying that. Now, there are many forms of numerology. I'm only working with one system. So if you do it differently and it works for you, use whatever calculation you wish. But here's a simple one. Take the numbers of your birth date and make them into a single digit. So for me, it would be June 12th, in case you want to give me a birthday gift. 612, and that equals a 9. So my number is a 9, which is kind of cool because that's the number of the moon, but I won't go there right now. So my number is a 9. Now I'm going to add it to the 8, and it equals 17. So 1 plus 7 equals 8. So my year is an 8, and it's an 8 year. Moon is, oh gosh, I'll say it now. So 9 is a reflective number. So if your personal number is a 9, it means it's always going to reflect that year and the themes of that year. Because 9 is the moon, and the moon reflects everything. So you might have a 9, but you might not. So calculate your number. You can even make a little note of it so you know. By adding the numbers of your birth date and making it into a single digit. And then you're going to add it to the 8 and see what number you come up with. And I'm going to go through, in my grimoire, the different numbers and what they mean, just a little sentence or two, so you can get an idea of what are some of the themes that might personally be coming up for you this year. Okay, so number 1 is identity. It's all about you. Your number 1, new beginnings, your individuated expression, how you want to shine in the world. It's also typically you'll get a lot of opportunities coming your way when you're in a 1 year. Now 2 is what you would think. It's partnerships. And, the partnership could be with a significant other. The partnership could be with a business partner. It's really you looking at how you relate one-on-one to different people, how you relate, how you work with partnerships, learning lessons and receiving opportunities to have cooperation, learning how to balance, in relationships. These are all some of the patterns that we have in a 2 year.
Is this the number, the month and the day? This is the number you're going by?
Yes.
That equals, right?
Yes, the month and the day added to the year.
Oh, added to the year.
It's the month and the day added to the year.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's the numbers you're going
And
with.
that's the number that's going to be your personal theme for the year. So the overlaying theme for us is 8, but each of you has your own number, which might be an 8 or it could be a 1 or a 2.
Okay.
Now, number 3 is communication. It's how we put our messages out, right? It's how we express ourselves out into the world. Not just, one is more like how you're perceived, 3 is more like how you express, right? How you, number 1 is how you perceive yourself. Number 3 is how you are perceived when you express yourself. Okay? So it's all about communication. In that year, you might have a lot of creativity going on. There might be a lot of planning that you're doing. You might also be learning things. It's a year where you can learn quite a bit. So you may find yourself studying something new that year. Now, number 4, I always think of, the card in the tarot, the Emperor. Oh, we're going to talk about tarot later too. So I always think of the 4 as the Emperor, but if you look at the Emperor, he's sitting on his throne. He's in perfect balance. So it's about security. It's related to work. It could be everyday work. It's about being practical, right? And it's also encouraging because you could get really comfortable sitting on that throne. The 4 year is a year where it's important to avoid stagnation because you might get overly comfortable in an environment. You want to make sure you don't do that. Now, 5 is a year of freedom. It's playful. You might be traveling that year. It's about exploring things. Now, if you're not comfortable being free, it may be uncomfortable until you get used to it, because it's kind of allowing yourself to relax and have some fun. And that's actually how you'll manifest, is when you're exploring new opportunities and new things. So don't be afraid, tiptoe or jump or leap out into the world and explore new things. It's also about releasing your limitations. So there's going to be transformation that comes when you're willing to do that, when you're really willing to expand. Now, we're going to do 6. Now, 6 is harmony. 6 is about service. It's 6 is kind of like a lovey-dovey kind of a number, because if you look at it on tarot, it corresponds to, or actually the Kabbalistic tree of life, it corresponds to the sun. And if you were to draw a 6, it would be a hexagram. And a hexagram points up and it points down. So our happiness and our joy is based on what's in the center, which is our heart. And so it's a lot about relationships with everything, not just people. It's learning how to be in harmony with all things. There's a focus on family in the year of 6, being in service, sacrifice. Like, you might just be willing to do whatever is necessary for the greatest and highest good of the family, the community, the planet, whatever you're doing. And you might put your personal needs aside a little bit. But you have to be aware. It's also a year to notice, like, your health. It's a focus on you and self-care as well. So one of the things that you balance in this year is caring for yourself and caring for others. You want to keep everything in a state of balance. So that's one of the lessons that a 6 will have. Now, number 7, which was the big theme for last year, a 7 is all about self-analysis. It's about introspection. I talked a little bit about it before. It's about contemplating. It's about inner wisdom that comes through the process of contemplation. And it's also about really connecting to the hidden world and cultivating our intuition and our intuitive abilities. Now, 8, I already talked a lot about, but I'll just name some themes. If you're an 8, it's power, but with power comes great responsibility. So it's also about responsibility. It's about finances, prosperity, owning your power. You can have great gains this year or great loss. It's what you put into it. It's not going to be done for you, which is why it is so perfect. This is a Capricorn new moon, because I'm basically describing Capricorn right here. And then 9, which is the final single digit number. This is a number of completion, endings. It's a cycle. A 9 represents a cycle, like the moon always shows us cycles. It is about learning how to forgive and let go. If you're holding on to anything that's not serving, it's going to be very uncomfortable for you in a 9 year, because 9 really is a time to let go of what does not serve you. And at the same time that you're letting go and completing and wrapping things up, you're planting seeds for your next year, which is going to be a 1. So that's a little bit about the numerology for the year 2024. And I'm not going to ask if there are questions, because I don't think there are, unless anybody in this room has questions. I don't think we can see the chat, can we? I don't know that we can see the chat. So
there is kind of just someone saying hi.
Well, hi,
Lauren
everyone.
Frank says hi.
Hi. Hi, everyone.
Oh my God, I'm like in it. My face. Okay.
Okay. So that's a little bit about the numerology. And now what I want to do is tie this in to Capricorn. And so we're going to talk about the tarot now. And so I did something, I don't know if you can see it on that. I don't want to make the laptop move because we're on Patreon. But what I did was I took all 22 of the tarot cards out. And, everybody here that's in this room can take a look. Now, I'm going to tell you, it's kind of funny. It's an 8 year, and we have 8 people here today. And I knew we were going to have 8 people. We had last-minute people who couldn't make it. We had last-minute people who I didn't know were coming, who joyfully have arrived to create our perfect 8 today. I love numerology. But back to tarot. So if you look, maybe bring it back one more time.
Yeah.
So this is the hero's journey. Yeah. Just show the cards. This, in a way, is the journey of the hero. And I'll tell you why. Because this is us, the Fool. And that's not an insult. That means we're open to any possibility. Okay. And then we start our journey of life, going from being in this place of not knowing anything, empty cups like little babies when we're born, right? We want to experience everything. So we're like the Fool on this journey. And then this first row of cards represents principalities and energies, formless energies. So when the major arcana is what I'm working with, the 22 archetypes. We could go deeper into the wards of each of the cards, but we're not going to do that today. We're just going to work with the 22 major arcana. So this is the hero's journey. Each moon represents one of these archetypes, just so you know, right? So when you do the moon journey, you're working with different archetypes, and they're all connected. They're like a family related to each other. So we start off as the Fool. This first row of 7 cards, because we have altogether 22 cards. 22 archetypes, 22 cards. The first row of 7 cards represents energy flowing directly from the celestial regions, your highest self, whatever you think the highest energy is. It's just unbridled energy. The second row of 8 represents principles. So we take this Fool's journey, and then all of a sudden we start working with different principles. And then the third row represents the test to see how well we did with our journey so far. So I want to show you just, I'm going to focus today on Capricorn, because it's a Capricorn new moon. And so it's like so perfect because it's also an 8 year. And there's a correlation between the 8 year and the 15 that is Capricorn. Okay. The first card we enter into is the Magician. Right? And this doesn't have much to do with anything right now, but you could say the first thing we do is we seek to manifest. So we're all here as magicians seeking to manifest or release something. But the second card in the row, right, the principle that the magician works with or is here to learn is strength. That is card number 8. Isn't that wild? 8. So here's the 8 back again. We're in an 8 year, and our principle that we're working with is strength. Remember, we talked about 8 being power and creating that power balance, right? Creating that power balance And really, I'm using one of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, but you can use other decks, whatever theme you like or prefer. But anyway, on this illustration, we see the goddess taming this red lion, and the red lion represents our passions. And so it's not that we want to stop being passionate, but we want to create a balance between our desire and our destiny. Because sometimes the things that we desire actually weaken us. And the greatest power is love. And so when we work with the strength card, we're best when we're in our hearts about whatever we're doing. And that may sound trite, but it's really the key. And this is the key to this year. And okay, one more thing, which I think is really cool. So this is 8. This is the year we're in. This also corresponds to Leo. And the next time we meet is going to be the full moon in Leo. So we're going to be circling around these archetypes quite a bit over the next couple of moons, which is really cool. So that's the 8. So this makes a perfect roll. So the magician works with strength, and then comes the test, the devil. And that is Capricorn. It's the Capricorn new moon. So Capricorn is the devil. Now, I don't want to light myself on fire. I have done that before. So, okay, I did. Okay, good. I didn't go aflame. Never on video, though. So nobody's seen that. I'm not going to do that for a video. Hopefully not. Okay, so this is 15. Now, this corresponds to the archetype of Capricorn. Right? It's not about the ward, whether you're an early Capricorn, a mid Capricorn, or late Capricorn, if you're into astrology. This is more about the devil. Now, I want you to, you can see there's a star pointing down to the earth over the third eye of Capricorn, the devil. A lot of people fear the devil. And so, yeah, you can go back. I mean, unless you want to. A lot of people fear the devil. But actually, the devil is a symbol of discernment. So they always say, what do they say? The devil is in the truth. When you hear the truth and you're not ready to hear it. So the virtue of this card is discernment. It's that third eye. It's like you see on the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. You see these two people naked and chained. It's almost like the antithesis of the Lover's card. So they're naked, they're chained, it doesn't look like they're having a lot of fun. But if you look at the chains, they're very loose. They can easily break free. And so Capricorn has a duality. We could get into the astrology quite a bit. I'm going to try not to. But the concept of Capricorn has a dual nature. So what we usually think of is ambition and hard work and making it to the top at all costs. So, we were not really in the energy of love all the time. We're the goat going up the mountain, not letting anything get in our way. That's Capricorn energy, or how we perceive it. But there's a whole other aspect to Capricorn, because Capricorn is the goddess, the crone goddess. That Capricorn wants us to learn from. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. It's the only sign in the zodiac ruled by Saturn. So Capricorn wants us to figure out these chains and let them go. Capricorn wants us to exercise discernment, but Capricorn wants us to get up and do it. Capricorn's not going to do it for us. So it's kind of like a tough love kind of a thing. Capricorn archetype teaches us the wisdom of our experiences, even when they're uncomfortable and painful. So take joy in whatever your lessons are this year. Take joy in whatever your manifestations are this year. That's all connected to Capricorn, but keep on going up the mountain. Don't get too comfortable anywhere, because Capricorn is dedicated to wisdom that comes through action and activity, but not pointless activity. So Capricorn can teach us to balance that need to get things done with reflection and discernment. And when you do that, then you've got the key to this new moon. So this new moon is, as much as it is about there's a word, I've almost blanked the word out of my existence because the word resolutions really is disturbing to me. Because when you resolve something, it's almost like you're stuck to it. And then if you don't do it, you shame yourself, right? In this devil card, there's a lot of shame attached to this archetype, the devil. Shame is something we create, and it actually separates us from our soul. Rather than have shame, learn from your experiences and move on. That's what Capricorn tells us to do. Not about being ashamed, it's about doing it differently next time. And take joy in the fact you learned something through that process. That's what Capricorn is. So this new moon is about really understanding what it is we need to let go of, connecting to the flames of Capricorn, and deciding what we want to create and work with in our 8 that we're bringing in for this year. What do I want to bring? What do I want to leave behind? That's basically what we're going to do tonight. We're going to do a very simple spell. We're going to do not magic tonight. So, I'm going to go into astrology and kind of complete the tarot part and just talk about the astrology of this new moon. And so I mentioned that the new moon is in Capricorn a bunch of times, but it's also, we have Pluto in Capricorn. And Pluto's been in Capricorn, I believe, since 2008. But it's been a long time, and it left a few times over the past year into Aquarius, which is where it cycles through next. So Pluto is the god of the underworld. I have a feeling he works a little bit with that devil card, but he really works with the tower card as well. Pluto really works with that tower card. So, when we are working with Pluto in Capricorn, we're working with systems and structures. Right? So right now, Pluto is in the 29th degree of Capricorn. What does that mean? Well, what that means is that it's your final lessons about something. So the more willing you are to let go of systems, ways of thought, patterns, whatever is going on for you, the more you're going to manifest in this 8 year. Because towards the end of this year, Pluto is permanently gone out of Capricorn, and it's going to move into Aquarius. And Aquarius is really about everyone. It's about community. It's about humanity. It's about learning how to serve without being the savior, thinking more in terms of the collective. And each of us is plugged into the collective with whatever we're going to do, whether your journey of life is to do botany. And, it's a very solitary thing that you do, but by doing botany, you're contributing to the ecosystem. That's a very Aquarian thing. And Aquarius is really about transformation. And in some cases, those systems that we really were relying on that were supporting us, they may fall apart. And right now, we're in the throes of Pluto in Capricorn, which means that this is a huge opportunity to let go. And I know sometimes it's scary to let go when you don't know what's coming next. However, the universe, as it moves into new energy, is supporting us to do that. And so Capricorn is very prominent in the sky today at this new moon. But Capricorn has been very prominent over the years. Capricorn's not going away, but it's going to work in a different way in our lives. It's not going to be so prominent. So now's the time for us to leap out of old structures and create something new to support us. So with 8, you build a foundation, but your foundation doesn't have to be based on outworn modes of survivalism. That's the duality of Capricorn as well. One part of Capricorn is really about building, creating, diligence, manifestation, wealth, all types of wealth, because resources are also the people that you love, the things you do that really feed you. That's also wealth and abundance, right? So Capricorn is about building that and building that and building that. But at the same time, Capricorn is also about letting go. Capricorn is also about release. And so we have this opportunity to do that. And if we don't, we're going to feel like that couple, that's chained in that devil card. We're gonna feel that illusion until we're ready to let it go. Now, let's go back to survivalism. So I'm going to say this because I think there's sometimes some misconceptions about survivalism. It's very hard to be on Patreon listening to New Moon and Capricorn information when you are trying to keep food on the table, pay the rent, get your basic needs met. That is survivalism. And a lot of times when we leave that state, we still have that stuck from old programs and memories of when we had to just survive. We're really afraid to let go of the things that we take ownership of because we're afraid that if we do, nothing's going to come to replace it. So, it's that ancient, it's not an ancient concept. It actually came a lot with industrialism. It's that idea of dog eat dog. If you have, that means you're taking from me. It's that concept. And Aquarius is going to throw that out the window. And yet we're not going to move into this utopia. It's probably going to be a lot of things going on as we go through this. But getting out of that mindset of survivalism when you don't have to be there is really important. So it's not about feeling guilty because you have and other people don't, but it's being aware, and helping others who don't have what you have, and benefiting and working, serving, using that love to help others, and recognizing that you don't have to just survive. You can live, you can thrive. And this is the other side of Capricorn and this year. So even though there's a lot of things that we are grieving and mourning and suffering through right now, we don't have to suffer. We can do something about it as much as we can, whatever that is. Even if it's just changing our mindset, whatever it is, there are things we can do. And we can still have grief, because grief is not the same as suffering. Grief is a state of learning. A lot of times when we're grieving something, we're letting something go. We are actively letting something go. And in that process of grief and mourning, we are learning. We are gaining deeper understanding of the mysteries of sorrow. Right? So this isn't about spiritual, but that's the thing that we have forgotten. And Capricorn reminds us of that, because Capricorn reminds us of rituals and all the phases of life, not just the pleasant ones. Reminds us of all the different stages of existence, that they all should be honored. And when you do that, you're out of survivalism. You can be in grief and mourning without that feeling that things will never change, but recognizing where you are right now. So there's great wisdom that comes with Capricorn. It's a lot. It can feel a little bit heavy. But we've also got what's really cool. It's always important to look at not just the new moon and all the Capricorn influences, but Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. And by the way, in the Tarot, Saturn card is the world. It's considered everything. So it's like when you master the lessons of Saturn, you can have the world. But Saturn right now is in Pisces. And Pisces is all about Jupiter. And when we work with that Jupiter energy, a lot of people love, Jupiter. Jupiter teaches us about abundance and flow and dreams. We don't always have to be struggling up a mountain. We have our dreams. We have possibilities out there for us. And Saturn in Pisces reminds us of that. So that's a little bit about the astrology that we're starting our journey together with. And so, that being said, I don't know if there are questions or not. I don't think there are.
Let me check.
We can complete the information about the tarot. And we can start our grimoire.
Kelly says hi.
Who said hi?
Kelly.
Oh, hi, Kelly. It's good to come. Well, I don't see you, but I'm glad you're there. So we're going to move into the spell work. this is the beginning of your grimoire. Because typically, you know, when you're talking about your feelings and your journaling, that's your journal. Your grimoire is your spell work. So now we open the grimoire. I love that word too. It's kind of a fun word. And, you know, it can be, you know, this leather bound book or whatever you want it to be. So we're going to do some simple spell work today using, because we're in a lot of earthy energies and Capricorn is earth, we're going to use some earthy kind of magic, and it's not magic. I'm going to talk a little bit about not magic. We're going to tie it into the number 8, which is also very fun. But not magic is great because you can do it anywhere and you don't need much. I mean, worst case scenario, you could use your shoelaces. I don't recommend you do that, but you could if you had to in a pinch. So basically, not magic is used throughout history in many different cultures. Like any culture that had ships, they would use knots, right? They would use knots for their sailing, and to measure time, often knots were used. But anywhere you see a knot or even a bead or something on a string, we might be seeing evidence of not magic. So not magic is used to protect and bind. It's used for manifesting and creating. And it's also used for releasing and healing. Releasing and healing. So literally you can move energy using a knot. And also marriage, hand fasting ceremonies. That's where the expression tying the knot comes from. You're literally, so if there's a romantic couple watching this, you could do some knot work together if you want. But we can just start with individual knot magic. So you should have a string. And if you don't, I guess you could use your shoelaces. I don't know. But you should have a string. And if you don't have a string, I've got some on my altar you can pick. And, you know, the color that you pick could be significant or not, a little not humor. But the color could be red for power, red for love, red for passion, green for manifestation, money, good health, pink for charm, Venus, you know, that kind of energy. Gold can be for mastery. You know, use the color. The colors. Black is for new beginnings. Whatever it is, and also protection. Black is very good for protection. So whatever color you, even if you didn't consciously choose a color, its significance. White is, you know, it's considered to be clearing, cleaning, purity, healing. Like if you're trying to break a bad habit, you can work with white. But also if you're trying to open up your crown chakra or become more connected to your spiritual energy, you can use white. And white contains all of the rays of the color spectrum. So when I don't have a color, then I'm okay just to use white, whether it's a candle or something else. I can use white for that. Okay, so does everybody have their string? Right, I'm going to use sparkly gold. I don't think this existed in ancient times, but I'm using it anyway. Now we're going to do one knot together, and then I'll give you a couple minutes if you want to do more than one. But let me tell you this, you can start the spell, and then after we're done, you can continue working with it. So if you have a long piece of string, I'm going to just tell you all this now. You can do your knot magic and hang it somewhere as a reminder of what it is that you wish to create, right? Or a habit that maybe you're trying to let go of. And once it's manifested, you can keep the knot as a reminder, or you can burn it. Or if you're trying to release something, you can burn the knot right away and keep doing knots until you get rid of whatever it is you're trying to get rid of. That's something you could do. But tonight we're gonna use the fire to release. But you know, on your own you can do knots to release as well. And you can do a knot for each member of your family if you want to do protection in your home or something. You know, there's an infinite number of things that you can do. What's great about knot magic is once it's visible, it's a reminder to you of what you're working on. Even though we also have our Google document now on Patreon. You actually have it, so you can hang this somewhere as a reminder. You can even reconnect to it by holding the knot and saying mantra, you know, not a mantra, just like whatever the spell is that we say tonight. You can say the spell again and again over the knot just to reconnect you, or to keep the magic of the knot going in your life, or just the word of what this knot represents. You don't have to go through the whole spell again. You can just hold the knot, or when you're anxious, you can hold your knots. So there's lots of things you can do with a knot.
Mhm.
And, when you want to release energy, you unknot it. A lot of times we walk places with our shoes in knots. If we don't like where we went, you might want to make sure you unknot your shoes when you get home. Okay, so we're going to do, there are many different types of knots. We're going to do, in honor of our 8-year, we're going to do a figure 8 knot. Okay, so maybe we'll get close. Although I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna show you the technique so that I don't have to focus on the technique. And you can practice if you have multiple strings. You can have a practice string if you want. But it's really easy. You have 1/2 of your string in your right hand. You have 1/2 of your string in your left hand. And the right is gonna go over the left. And then the left is gonna go over the right. You're going to tie that, and then you're going to go left over right, and then right over left. So you're just alternating. Voila. And if I look really closely at my cute little sparkly knot, it's an 8. So just to repeat, it's right. Yeah, it looks good to me. It's right over left, left over right.
Right over left, left over right.
Left over right, right over left. As above, so below, as within, so without. Is everybody feeling good about their knots?
I think so.
I think these knots are good in this room.
We got good knots.
You have good knots. Now I want you to decide what you want to let go of. Okay, so I jumped the gun with the knots. I'm sorry, we have to release still. So I'm
Yeah,
going to
funny, I was just starting to do that.
well, we have more. You can get more string. That was just a knot demo. That was a knot demo
I
now.
want to get green again.
All right. Hopefully, those on Patreon have enough string.
I know, right?
I'm stringing them along.
Oh.
Okay, now I'm telling silly knot jokes. That's too much. Okay, so we're going to do a little release exercise using that 8. So I did say for this spell, you're going to want to have a candle or something that represents a flame. So I want you to pick, I have a bunch of flames on this altar. Pick a flame to focus on. And you can be sitting or standing. And I want you to just take a nice deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth.
3 hold our string.
Now the string can be wherever it needs to be. We don't need the string right now. And I want you to just focus on what you're letting go of. It could be one experience. It could be a quality that's no longer serving you. Breathing in and breathing out. And as you breathe in and as you breathe out, this feeling is going to come up from the bottom of your body to the top, to the center, to your heart. You're going to feel that thing you're trying to let go of in your heart. Some of you are going to feel it in your stomach, and that's okay. Some of you, the way you receive information, it comes through your solar plexus, which is right at the bottom of your rib cage. And it also comes through the hara, which is a couple inches or right at the navel. Wherever you're feeling it, feel it come up what you're trying to release. And what I want you to do is I want you to send it into the fire. I want you to inhale and exhale. You can do it fast, like breathe it, get rid of it, send it into the fire. Send it into the fire, release it into the fire, release it into the fire. And as you're releasing, you're going to be aware that there is literally a figure 8 loop of energy looping through your body, going up through your left foot, circling through your heart, going around through the celestial energies, going back through your other side and making an 8. You're in the middle of this beautiful energy of 8, and you are releasing from your chakra what does not serve into the flame. Let it go, let it go, let it go. And if you need to just shake it up, you can shake a little bit too if you need to, but just get it out of your body. See it releasing from your body.
Focusing on the red and it's like going crazy.
Yeah, the goddess candle. The goddess is like, let it go already. So you're going to let it go, let it go, let it go. And as you do this, you're going to start to come to power balance. Because what's going to happen, as you release, you're going to become lighter and lighter. And you're going to start to connect to the 8, which is the magnetic energy of the earth and sky. You're going to start feeling that 8 coming through your left foot, looping at the heart chakra, going up above you, and then coming back down through your left side and looping over at the right foot. So you're in this infinite energy of power. And if there's an opposite energy that you're going to choose, you can say silently or out loud, I choose whatever you choose. And then you're going to draw an 8. So I choose self-love. I choose self-love. So whatever quality I need to really let that out of my sight. When you feel complete, just put your hand over your heart so I know you're done. And those of you watching, you can do this releasing part for as long as you want. And if you want to burn something in the fire, go right ahead. We're just releasing it energetically. And now we're back connected to that infinite energy. We're ready for our spell. So I want you to just imagine you're as big as the earth. You are this beautiful being, big as the earth. And you're now going to get your strength. And I want you to think of at least one thing that you wish to create or bring into your life. This could be a goal or it could be a quality. It could be something you want to cultivate. It can be very specific or very cerebral. Now, you can do one or you can do many. I'm going to not do this all night. A little not throwing in there now. But I will take you through this and give you a few minutes. You can repeat this as much as you want. You're going to do this for each knot. What's that?
I write it down. Or we're just
You don't have to write anything down. This is lazy covenant spell work now.
Okay.
So you're going to say what you want while you're making the knot. Okay? So say what you want. You can say it silently, well, quietly or out loud. You're going to say what you want. I'm going to say self-love. I'm going to say self-love. I want self-love. And I'm going to take the right over left and the left over right. I'm going to keep saying self-love, 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 self-love. I'm going to take the left over right and then the right over left. Self-love, self-love, self-love. And I'm going to look into my knot and connect with whatever I'm trying to manifest. Connect with your knot. You're going to say these words. Fortune.
Fortune.
Abundance.
Abundance.
Love.
Love.
Protection.
Protection.
Purpose.
Purpose.
All these new moon
these new moon
and new year blessings
and new year blessings.
I attract with my spell.
I attract with my spell.
Under this new moon,
Under this new moon,
with this knot,
with this knot,
I bind.
I bind.
And now you're going to say whatever your intention is. So. With the power of this knot, I bind this spell.
With the
power of this knot,
I bind this spell.
And you can do a couple more if you want on your own, just by repeating the word, making the knot. And then when you're done, you say, with the power of this knot, I bind this spell. You can do it as many times as you want. So I'll give you another couple minutes to do a few more. Do as many knots as you want. With the power of this knot, I bind this spell. I'm going to do a couple more. With the power of this knot, I bind this spell. I'll give you a couple minutes to work on knots. Make as many as you want. You can do separate strings for different family members, whatever you want. And then you're going to hang this somewhere in your house or put it somewhere. Maybe put it into a piece of art if you like to create artwork. And the numerology is cool. You could do 8 knots, after, I'm not going to wait for you to do 8 right now, but you can continue. You could do 8 knots, or you could do the number of your numerology, whatever you want, whatever you want. You can do protection knots for the family. When you're done with your knots, give thanks that it's done, that your intention will be completed. Make sure you write that intention on your grimoire, and that it will be completed. It will happen. Give thanks. Give thanks to anything you want to give thanks to for this new moon. People you love, places you've been, the lessons of 2023, whatever it is. Give thanks and complete the spell. And you can knot away after this particular video. You can do whatever you want. But this begins our journey. We begin our journey with a knot. So thank you all. Thank you, Lunar Fair, for giving us a place to be in the cold winter months and just really giving us magic. We're just so grateful. That's what I'm thankful for, among many things. Thankful for the coven and all the people that support this spell work every new and full moon. So we are complete. I bid you all license to depart. I hope to see you at the full moon in Leo. Thank you. So mote it be.
So mote it be. Thanks, everyone. Desert Snack says, thank you for sharing your energy tonight.
Oh, my honor.
And Jonathan says, thank you so much for tonight. The description of last year with 7 resonates so much with me.
Oh, wow.
And a bunch of hearts. So cool. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you all. Mwah.
Mwah.